Howdy again, it's Mr. Pete, and last week I went to that auction and it was a bit of a failure, but about 25,000 people looked at the video, so I'll give you the link to that. I'll put it in the description and show you what that auction was. It was a big auction, an awful lot of stuff. I didn't buy anything except coffee, but I was surprised at how many people said that it was total junk. Well, there was some good stuff there. It was just that I own duplicates of all of that stuff already. There wasn't anything real unique for me. But I was a little down about all that, so the following day I went out to a buddy's house, lives about 10 miles from here, and I bought a bunch of stuff from him. It's kind of a grab bag. I probably paid too much for it, but we're going to go through this very slowly and thoroughly because it's kind of like boxes that you would buy at an auction. So there's some interesting things here, but some junk, probably scrap iron as well. So this will be long and detailed, so stick with me if you like this type of thing. Now here is the video of the auction last week. I'll show you the screen for that. Then we'll get into this stuff. Here's the video of last week's auction, and it's right down here. There's the title, Big Tool Auctions, Tubalcain Attends Failure. So look that up if you haven't seen it already. Like I said, 25,000 people, can't be wrong. Well, the last thing I need is more junk around here, but here are the little boxes that I bought. And at first when he showed me this, I thought that it was oil filters. And this box weighs about 30 pounds, and we'll go through all of that last because it may be interesting to you and may not be. For those of you that are interested, I'm not very far from completing my 35 chapter video series, my video course on the South Bend Shaper. I know I said that would be done in February, but it's still not done, and it's May 1st tomorrow. Okay, let's get started with this little tin box. There's some kind of interesting things in this box. Now, there's a few things I do not know what they are. Put it in the comments if you know. Well, here's another one of those little ideal indicators. And it seems to work. You've seen me do a test on these, and there's another one here, yeah. This one sure is beat up, you know. How could that happen? But it might be 100 years old. And there's another one. I thought it was missing the needle at first, but it's not. Okay. You know, these two are different. I've talked about this before. This one has the little graduated dial on both sides, whereas this one has it only on one side. So they made several different versions of these. This is the reversible one, I guess you could say. Well, here are two marking gauges, and I have no idea, they're not marked, whether they are homemade or commercially made. And the only graduations on them are little circles every 1/2 inch. And I don't know if these are made for woodworking or metalworking or exactly what they are. I think you know what this is. This is a Starrett clamp that will hold two rulers at right angles to one another. A little rusty on this side, needs cleaning up. All right, I bet you don't know what this is. It's just a portion of another tool. And I thought, you know, that looks like it's part of a planer gauge. So I pulled out my planer gauge. This is a Starrett that I had in the basement. By the way, here's the one with the color case hardening that I was looking for in that heat treating video. Be sure and watch my heat treating video. Boy, a lot of people seem to like that for some reason. Anyway, this piece here is equal to this piece, but it's at a different angle, so it's obviously a different manufacturer than Starrett. But it appears to be off a planer gauge, probably scrap, but I just found it to be interesting. This is unmarked, and I thought, that looks familiar. What is that? Not in good condition. Well, I'll show you a picture in the Starrett catalog. Does anyone recognize that before I show you? Hang on. This is a Starrett catalog, pretty old, but the Universal Bevel Protractor has an attachment here, and that is it. Although since it's not marked, I suppose it could be a Brown & Sharpe or another manufacturer that made a similar tool. There's a Starrett telescoping gauge, rusty and stuck. Probably isn't worth messing with to try to free it up. Here is a pair of Brown & Sharpe key seat clamps. For some reason, I have one of these in the basement, but I never did have a pair of them. They need cleaning up. I do not like the idea of using that rust remover on these tools because it leaves a bit of a frosted finish on that I do not particularly like. There are two of these. I have no idea what they are. They look commercially made. Anybody know? The rest of this, I think, is junk. I don't know what these are. These are tapered, so I don't know if they are used together or what those are. Here we got some knobs and things and the key to my heart. That's about it for that. Oh, do you recognize these? These are the removable jaws out of the little Starrett machinist clamps. Those little vices. So this was a mixture of some interesting stuff, not in good shape, but nevertheless, maybe worth keeping. This box, a total waste of time, probably not worth even showing you, but there is a couple of counter bores that might be usable. The rest of this stuff, I don't know. I'm going to dump this little jewelry box out and we'll take a look at this stuff. And don't get mad at me for dumping it. This is the way I bought it, but some people are going to say you're mistreating cutting tools, you're rubbing them together. So we got all kinds of cutters. Some, well, I believe they're all used, but I don't really know. Some of them still have the plastic on them, which sometimes means they've been resharpened. A lot of counter bores here. Quite a few. I don't know if it constitutes a set. And something like that's got a weird shank, I don't know. That looks like one of those annular cutters. Now there is a piece of junk. It looks like somebody tried to free hand it. I don't know what that is. Some people think I know everything, but I do not. I don't know any more than you do. There's a ball end mill. Looks in good condition, I believe 1/4 or 5/16. A bunch of these screws, I think that are pointed maybe for transferring the center of a threaded hole. Probably came out of the drawer of a machinist's toolbox. Nothing real great, but a few usable items here. $100 worth if you had to buy that stuff, new. Here's a real worthless item. This is a flex shaft, and apparently it's a Sears buffing wheel, and there's some buffing compound and a few Dremel items. Okay, here's a cigar box full of cutting tools. I hope there's some in here that are usable. I almost have to get a magnifier out, but it looks like mainly end mills. Well, that's a good one. Some of these little Woodruff type cutters. A lot of center drills of all sizes. I'll have to examine them carefully with a magnifier to see if they are dull. Counter bores. You know, we know that that's used because one end is broken off, and more than likely that end is dull. I don't know. It's really a little one. I don't know what that is. Countersinks. All kinds of interesting things. I will sort this next winter and dispose of dull items. Nothing more useless than dull cutting tools. Let's go through this tray. And by the way, at the end of this video, I'll have a little extra credit showing you some corn grinding and a few other things that my buddy did show to me when I picked these up out at his farm. I don't know what these items are. There's about 5 of them. They look used, but I don't know what they are. No idea. This looks like some kind of homemade gadget. I don't know. And maybe it's been dropped and this looks bent. A set of chuck jaws, but if you don't know where they what they fit, they're, I guess, pretty useless. So in here, oh, that might be more staper. I'll have to clean some of this stuff up to see. Quite a few end mills in here, like there's a good one. That's sharp. I'm not going to go through every one, but some needs to be unpacked yet. Oh, I don't know. That doesn't look any good. There's a couple of reamers in here someplace. I got to check to see if they are sharp. That's a 1/2 inch. There is a 3/4 hand reamer. I think that's called a bridge reamer. I'm not totally sure. And a couple of chucking reamers. More than a couple. And then quite a few tapered reamers for machine, tapered machine pins. What looks to be here like a full set. And some small ones here. So at least a dozen or more of these tapered reamers. And then some cutters. Now, I was talking about angular cutters in a recent video, and I said if you've lost the points out here, the whole thing is fairly useless. But I guess you could still cut on the side here. 7/8 bore. I suppose it's usable, but it does have some damage to it. And there are other cutters and some saws, saw blades. Bunch of these that are that have tape on them, so I don't know. Here we got end mills. Four boxes of those. That looks all right. It's hard to get that tape off there if it's like that's real old brittle masking tape. More counter bores, a bunch of them. I think some of this stuff I'll take with me up to Arnfest next time they have a show up there. Not real great, but some useful things. Again, hundreds of dollars worth if you had to buy this. Imagine what these tapered machine reamers would cost for a full set. Now maybe they're dull. And how often do I put in a, a tapered pin? By the way, in just today's video, Keith Rucker did ream a hole, tapered hole. Okay, that's about it for this. Kind of interesting. There are 11 containers, and they're all fairly heavy. And I really don't know if I should go through all of them, but stick with me. I guess I will. And if you don't like it, you know, you can quit right here. But there we got quarter 20 taps, and it says there's 80 of them. Well, I will take those out. Now that's a lifetime supply. That'd be a lifetime supply if you were 10 years old. Are they all used? I don't know. There are taper plug and bottoming, that is, and all US made, I believe. I haven't looked at every one yet, but you know, there's a bunch of them. Where did this stuff come from originally? I don't know. Next, please, there's 42 end mills, 5/16, 3/8, and so on. And you know what? These are all carbide. Quite heavy. Well, there's one that's broken off, but is the other end any good? That's carbide. Looks like it might be dull, but I'm not sure. That looks like a good 1/4 inch or smaller. $60, 7/32. Who uses a 7/32? These appear to be high-speed steel. I'm not going to dump it. There's 50 end mills, some carbide, assorted sizes. 75, 1/16, and 1/8 inch. Oh. I see some ends broken off, so maybe this is all garbage. But they're little ones. Anyone still watching? There's 25 1/2 inch of something. Holy mackerel. I suppose they're all dull. These are high-speed steel. American made. Boy, there's a bunch of those. And then this one, it says short drills, and there's 175. Screw machine size. I don't know if they're all the same size. No, there's a couple different sizes there, and it looks, I can't tell. I believe they're used, which means maybe they're all dull. Don't know. Tell you one thing, I won't live long enough to sharpen 175 stubby drill bits. There's 14 3/8 end mills. Couple carbide, that's carbide. You can really tell by the weight of them when they're carbide, and the color for that matter. There's a long one. And in here, 55 3/16. I don't think I'll dump them. Now, this one, for instance, looks like it's been overheated. Yeah, that's not a good one there, so maybe they're all bad. Was I crazy to buy this? Was somebody crazy to keep these if they were dull? Was he going to sharpen them someday? Did he die before he was able to? I don't know. Well, I know you're getting sick of watching this since I'm getting sick of doing it, but in there's 45 quarter-inch end mills, 3 flute. You don't see 3 flute real often, but you know, that's a good one there. American made. I see one in there that has a broken off end, so now that one, for instance, is no good. And in here, 7/16 end mills. Oh, there's a long one. I'm not going to take that off and slice myself. Well, that completes an inventory of the scrap iron that I bought. What do you think? Was I foolish? Now, I'm done here, but stick around if you will, and I'm going to show you some clips of a few interesting things out on the farm where I picked up this stuff. But I will sign off now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to go to some auctions when they become available. Be sure and watch for those videos, and watch my 1,200 other shop videos. A lot of new ones coming, and a bunch coming up on heat treating. So long for now.